Welcome back to our kitchen. Today we're going to make one of my favorite cereals, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. For this recipe, you will need sugar, flour, cinnamon, obviously, vanilla, butter, salt, and water. And you will also need a blender or a food
processor.
I can't pronounce it. Okay, so we're going to preheat our oven, and while it's preheating, we're going to make our cinnamon sugar. So we have a tablespoon of cinnamon and half a cup of sugar in our bowl, and now I'm going to mix with a fork. Looks pretty.
Smells delicious already.
So we mix it all in. It looks pretty. I don't know what color I would choose this for, like in a painting though. If I had to paint the dog with it.
All right, so Zoe's gonna do all the work while I tell you what she is doing. Right now we have all of our ingredients, the rest of our ingredients in our blender. You could use a food processor to do this next part, but we do not have one of those, so we are using a blender. So in our blender, we have a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. We have 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. We have a ½ teaspoon of salt, and we have 2 sticks of cold butter, and I've cut that into cubes, and she will be adding that slowly one by one as we blend. We also have a ½ cup of cold water, and that will also be added slowly as we are blending. In our blender is also 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract to flavor the breading, and our oven's ready, so we got to get going. All right, Zoe, are you ready to blend?
Yes, on grind.
Yes, you could pulse it for a couple times just to make sure that our dry ingredients are all mixed.
I'm just kind of scared.
You don't have to be scared.
Okay, so the blender didn't work, and then Mom found a food processor, but that didn't work because it was too small. So now I have to do it by hand, which is going to be fun, because I get to use my actual hands.
Do it, girl.
The butter.
Just
I'm trying to break the butter.
blend it to make a dough ball. All right, we've got our work surface ready. We had a lot of difficulty with using our blender and then our tiny food processor. So we did a lot of the mixing by hand. Actually, Zoe did that. And now we have our workspace floured down and our dough ball is on there, and she's just gonna go ahead and roll it out as thin as she can get so that it is crunchy. After she rolls it out, we will cut it into a grid to make the squares, the Cinnamon Toast squares.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, not squares.
Well, they're squares. All right, we are all rolled out. Our next step before cutting it is to put our cinnamon sugar onto our dough. So Zoe's gonna go ahead and sprinkle that, our cinnamon sugar mixture that we made earlier. So you sprinkle very generously.
Not the whole bowl in one spot though.
Well, you could do the whole bowl in one spot and then spread it out
I
with
guess
your
you could.
hands.
I want to sprinkle.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Oh, it does smell very good. Okay,
Rub it in.
so yeah, rub it around to make sure that it is all coated. And then what you actually want to do is press it into the dough
So I like this.
so that while it's baking, it's baked into the dough, but it's still just on top. And then once you're starting to eat it, then it's not falling off all over the place. You want to use the rolling pin? You could use the rolling pin to press it in.
No, I want to use my hands so I can lick my hands after.
Okay.
Cinnamon spoonful challenge, but on hands. Wait, is that the cinnamon separating?
Mm-hmm. Is that good?
I want to keep doing it because I didn't push it down.
Satisfied?
I'm saying use the rolling pin. And with the rolling pin, I
Okay.
want the cinnamon.
Gently.
Okay.
All right, you're just taking out the sugar though.
Oops. Well, you said it again.
Yeah, but look at what's happening. All right, let's cut it.
It's raining. Actually, use my hands again then. We're back out. Not good enough to be my.
Okay, Zoe's got our dough cutter. I cut off the outside to make it sort of a square, and then now she's just going to go ahead and cut grids to make our little cinnamon sugar squares.
I want to do it like the actual size of cereal. The one from the pan.
It's up to you how big you want to make it or how small. Next step is to transfer them onto a baking sheet and then bake them. And then enjoy.
This is how I make breakfast in the morning.
It's a very long way to
Process.
make breakfast.
Make pancakes. Or
So you might not want to make it so small because remember, you still have to transfer each piece onto the baking sheet. All right, we've got our 2 pans in the oven and they will bake for 12 to 14 minutes. And then we still have another pan that's waiting to go in. Okay, our first batch is done and we have our Cinnamon Toast Crunch expert here and he's gonna taste it for us. What do you think, Luke? Zoe, what do you think?
I like the cinnamon, but I think we didn't make the dough thin enough.
It's not thin enough?
Yeah, I don't think it's thin enough.
Okay, so does it tastes more like a cookie more than like the cereal, right?
Yeah.
But it's good?
I still like the cinnamon better though.
Cereal's still better. All right, there you have it, folks. That is our homemade Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Thank you for joining us today. We will leave the recipe at the end and we will see you next time.
These are more like cookies.
Bye.